What does the heart call for? For then there is a patience that's being called for. For quite some time I've been feeling drawn to return to India, just to say thank you for all that happened before I was aware of all the gifts that happened there. And somehow it linked to me, and I can even feel the gratitude squeezing me. It's linked to the actual ground of India, and it's just how it shows up for me. I feel to invite, if people have, if it comes to heart, people who you'd like to include in support of them in some sort of healing. We won't know how it shows up, but we can include them in heart here, consciously and by voice, and it can support them to more happiness in their own set of details happening. If there's somebody who comes to heart that you'd like to include, there's someone, just to say their name. Simon. Anyone else? Jan, right? Keith and Ken, okay. Kailash and Nebula, okay, beautiful. Did you say something? Okay. And Jerry and Dawn. So, just like this, we can share this vibration by simply including them in heart. And then adding our voice to it brings another layer, right? Because there's whatever's happening inside, and then we say it out loud. It's heard not only by us, by awareness. That's the beauty of being able to share ourselves. So it becomes even more tangible and direct. So we're here for now, for letting perhaps these sounds, if it feels appropriate to you, to allow these sounds to be in support of your own set of details of living, in an even more enjoyable way. Does that sound like something that you could say yes to? All right. It's only just saying yes. It's not about thinking about how would life be more enjoyable or anything like that. It's just a yes right now. And then with your yes inside, the sounds will be with you in support of that. Okay. And so once again, there'll be a few sounds, and then we'll sit in some silence, not quite as much as this morning or earlier, but just so people know that you will have some space to be with whatever's happening for a little bit, just in the silence. Okay. Is it here? Right now? All the demons, all that, it becomes in such a way, and it'll be in your particular flavor to tempt you to believe in it, giving your attention to what the mind has to offer. And that gets, as far as I've heard, and in my own direct experience, can get quite accentuated so that, and just letting it be there, that's part of the shift, and in not engaging in them, right? So it's not following the loop of them, noticing that they're there, and you can even say, I see you there, or with them, however is appropriate, right? So it's really getting, okay, here's this thought, and has it repeated in the same similar way, or something similar about it. It might show up with a few different words. Then to open to that, okay, I'm going to just give you some space. Write it, be with it, and see, does it have any play in the body? Is there some energy that's connected to that? And if there isn't, it usually is that if it's repeating, there'll be some way that thought is attached to this system. Perfect gift. Perfect gift. So it's not, as if there's an attempt to get away or to get rid of the thoughts, that is that physics force again, that as soon as it's like, that push away is equal to the thoughts will be how much more present, more forceful or energy they'll have. So either there'll be nothing, it'll be like a cloud going by, or the wind tousled your hair when you came in from the car, right? Mm-hmm. But the wind tousling your hair, if it was really irritating somehow, then there's a gift. Things inviting you, and you're that one that's inviting yourself. Even in this, if it's interfering with what is, you're noticing it, but is it actually interfering with the play of events or not, And if then it's not, it's like, say, the cloud going by, like whatever it is, like you say, that you're involved in the activity and you're with that, and that's still happening, and still it's like the hum of a refrigerator. Sometimes the hum of the refrigerator does interfere. And so then it's like, okay, let's just, move to another place or whatever. So it's in the moment, what, is it in the way? If not, then, so anything in a generalized way, right, to look all at once, that's part of the mind wanting to categorize and conceptualize something, right? But in each moment of whatever's happening, it's so much easier to be with, right? So, but if you're looking at it from, sometimes, the mind spins and there's this hamster wheel, and that becomes something quite a bit more to be with because it's spread over time, right? Just this moment. If it is, where is it connected? Giving yourself the space to feel the connection and carry on. And then getting it adjusted to living without a direction, except for what shows up, and the next thing happens. And it's like the I don't know if we mentioned that last night, but this email that Richard had sent in 2009 that I didn't see until October 2010, but it showed up when it did, and it's this other play of events that now here we are, right? And so the direction comes to you. It's like almost underneath your foot. And so then the foot lands. Sometimes the foot is falling and it doesn't even appear like there's a land on. And then it's trust. And so far, that pull of the heart has not, towards itself, and there is a dedication here for that, whatever that means. I mean, I like, okay, how pompous, you're going to support love, as if it needs your support. It's just what it's dedicated to, and that is the most true thing. And how can I be that to the best of my ability, no matter what's happening? Working toward it, I don't know, allowing it. Okay, how is love? How can I allow more love here? Or, most often it's just in play, and I'm witnessing it as it's happening, and in this simultaneous moment that it appears that I'm being loving. I mean, my goodness, I'm being loved. And it's no longer a giving of love, completely receiving the love that's here. And a side effect is it looks kind of loving, and it is, because it's allowed, but it's allowed because I'm allowing myself to feel being loved, love happening. And then trusting in love when there's nothing there. And sure enough, something will happen, right? Nothing, out of nothing, something occurs again and again and again. And It's like that's what it seems to be. It's coming to nothing, and then something emerges and rises, and oh, okay. Next play of events follow their way through till they're, oh, okay, well, I kind of like that play. Oh, well. And what does the heart call for? And if the universe isn't ready for what the heart calls for, then there is a patience that's being called for. Like for quite some time, I've been feeling drawn to return to India, just to say thank you for all that happened before I was aware of all the gifts that happened there. And somehow it linked to me, and I can even feel the gratitude squeezing me. It's linked to the actual ground of India, and it's just how it shows up for me. So what can I do? It's just the truth. And in any time in these moments in this journey, feel free to include this energy, whatever that means, of Canela. If there's a support in that, to let it be with you in support of being true to love in this expression. If that ever occurs, you're welcome to the energy. And that's the same for everybody, yeah. That if it just occurs. And that's how Papaji and, in body or out of body, they appear, and they let me lean on them in a way, or I get held. There's lots of energy. When I look, there's a heartfelt energy, and it seems to squeeze tears out of my eyes. That in listening to what you said, that was beautiful. I wonder, about, and a gratitude too about you being willing to share that. And easiness. Or anything else that you'd like to share? Because things have been changing for you. Being in touch with the whole structure of what appears to be the body and the energy field. And just see if you can feel awareness being with you. Being aware of you. See, the tricky part of being human too is in the comparing. Because earlier you had said something about whether or not you were more slow, you were more fast, or if there was more smart or more dumb. Those only can be out of comparison, because there only is what there is, right? Those are just comparing happening. It's not true that you cannot compare this, right? There isn't any other you, so there really isn't any way to compare it in any kind of commonality, because there's only this one you. What would you be comparing to? So it's just noticing ideas come, and then relaxing open to what is here, this wonderful woman. And as she is more and more acknowledged and given more and more space, just as she is, all of these from source too, the ideas, right? As everything does. So they show up, but they show up differently. And then, so they do appear, but they show up differently in this letting go of being in control. The more we attempt to create that to happen, the less likely, right? But the space, they would not even occur to you if it wasn't possible. So the beauty is really going for trust of yourself. This amazing woman that's already here, that is comparable to nothing of the oneness. Right? It's in expression like this. We've been given this system, the energetic system, this physical system, this brain tissue, this way of character, the color of your eyes. It's all been just given. Here it is. And there isn't another like this. Never will be, never has been. In all time. Just this moment, this experience of being human. That's what I see. This is all, wow. And there isn't a comparing, but there can be a trust. And so when this idea of who you will be, I'm interested in that you call it stupid. It doesn't exclude that anxiety might be here in some time, right? It's just, anxiety here. And you can locate it if it's located somewhere in the system. There's there's a little bit of a generality over a bunch of moments that you're grouping together here and calling it, this is how this is, Is it here in this moment? Are you ready to, is it okay to sit with and really allow wrongness to be here? No longer moving away from being wrong. So is anything risen from, in connection with the lady that called in? Anything that you'd like to? It is if it is. And again, the heart calls, and in my own experience, it's not really, you'll be called to go to yourself in this form or that form, and it's really you being drawn to yourself in these different flavors. So as it's a support, it is, and you won't be called any longer when, and not to have that as a rule either. Because, after this had happened, I kind of wondered, well, I remember John DeRuiter coming to Vancouver, and the felt sense was to go and join the group, and I didn't really know. I thought, well, this is interesting. What's this here? And then, there's quite a bit of learning and receiving of a flavor of someone else's way. So there was that, and then there was also someone in the audience there that approached me afterwards and said, "Who are you?" And I was really drawn to you, and I'd like to. She invited me to offer satsang. So I didn't know that that's part of what was wanting to happen there. So it didn't make any real sense, but I was just, oh well, off I go. And that's happened quite a few times, that I'll end up in some place and wonder, well, why did I feel drawn to this? It's because it's not really touching, or, and then something else will happen that it might be on the ferry to or from going to a workshop, or someone I meet for lunch. All you can do is find supportive places, right? Like sometimes people come for Reiki sessions, they don't know why they've come. They just have said they felt, and then, or individual satsang sessions. So, because I do that by phone or in person, and they come and it's like, I don't know why I'm here. I have no idea. I just knew to create a session, and then something like, usually those ones are bigger happenings in a lot of ways, but also at the same time, people may come for some other reason. Something's going on, and it'll be something completely different than what they initially were looking at to find support with. So, it can be the person. It can be people in the room, right? So when you're feel called or drawn to come to satsang, it can be the whole mix of the energy. It may not be specifically just, right? That it's just time to sit in the peacefulness, in this flavor. Energy just needs to be fired off, and then you can say, oh, that was just that. And it should become more okay with that, though, right? Because there's another possibility of what anger can be utilized, right? Just like we can use thoughts to access energies where they attach within the system. Anger is a very wonderful, strong, passionate paint. Like that's how I like to use it, like a paint. So in something that you are inviting in your life, you can. What are you inviting in your life? I can give you a direct example that way, so that if anger shows up, you have a place to put it, because it's valuable, right? And if she's not really interested in receiving it, it's wonderful to create another container where you can put it should it rise. So, but first you need something that you want to put it towards. What would you like more of in your life? Right? You take that actual energy, live it like you're saying, right? You let it run and let it have its full fruition, but put it into a direction that's supportive to you, whatever the calling is, right? Towards your own awakening. I love it. And just take that energy and just put it right into that. Because it's a strong energy. And it's just energy, so it's just learning. And it takes a little bit to learn to play with it in the moment that it's happening, because it will tend to want to follow its old course, possibly, So it's like then having this statement, whatever it is that you're inviting, you want to get that fairly strong and fool around with it a little bit by consciously allowing anger to come, placing it in the new container, and doing that a few times, so that when anger shows up in a natural happening, you don't have to think about the container. You can already say, I love that it's going towards even more joy in my life. I love it. Yeah, so this is perfect, because in that way you can then take this wonderful stallion and support him to move that force in a way of love or joy for yourself. And it does, then it's very conscious to actually allow it to come and place it in there. And you can do it through purposely in meditation, bringing up the energy, but it's getting that statement nice and clear, so that when it comes wildly or not, forcefully in the moment, you have a place rather than towards your wife. Especially because she's giving you the information, the feedback that she's not appreciating it. If she was able to receive it and just take it as a cleansing energy for healing for herself, then that could be, right? So we can take these energies and we can play with them until they too are purposefully playing out as love, so that even anger is okay. Yeah, because that's what you're finding, right? That's what it seems like you're sharing, that even anger is okay. And that's true. I agree. Because I went to Disneyland in California and Disney World, so I'm not sure. I can't really remember what all I... All right. I believe that there was... Somebody said that they really liked the song that we sang last night. So we'll sing that. I'd like to sing 2 songs today. Or now. We'll sing this, Come, Come, Whosoever You Are. Right? And you're inviting yourself and those people that are with us online to sing this to yourself. And even though it might feel funny to sing all by yourself where you are, I invite you to, and we'll sing the other song after. So inviting more of yourself alive, right? It's like we're here in this body and we're taking off these layers and finding new layers. And as we take the layers off, we find more space, and that which is next to be healed has space to rise. So it's an ongoing process. It's not to get to some place, because when there's more space, whatever's next to heal will rise in the space, right? And this will just keep occurring. And as this occurs, the essence of who you are becomes more and more rich and full. And so you're calling yourself the love that you are, the expression of awareness that you are, more and more alive, embodied here. So sing along as you know the tune. Miss next song's Krishna Das version of Hare Krishna. And I'd like to invite that as you sing this song, that you're singing in celebration of the divine masculine, this that is in play here, right? Maybe my view on it is a little pagan, in that seeing the absolute as the feminine, and that which emerges in it is the masculine, at play. So it's this action. So there's both parts of you, the feminine that's receiving all that is. In every moment, it's receiving. And then the masculine, the part that's playing, supporting, dancing. Yeah? So singing this in celebration of the divine masculine that you are. It's the Hare Krishna waltz. Thank you. Thank you all for coming here today. Yeah? And thank you everyone online for coming today. Wonderful. In these moments, because everything's different. And it occurs to me just in these few moments to offer, if people have a yes for that, that the sounds now be in support of each person, that you allow the sounds to be supportive to you in the way of sharing who you are. However that is, however you communicate you, and allowing even more of that into play. Does it sound like something you'd like support with? All right, so we're just offering the sounds, giving the sounds a little direction. They don't really need it. Anything can happen. And what the heck? But yeah, it's all wrapping paper. All the details, because it rises and falls, rise. And sometimes things make sense and sometimes they don't. Rush of energy. Oh. Okay, right? Comes and goes. And then here we are, the next moment. That's finished. Next moment is here. And sometimes the moments seem to kind of loop together to look like something happened. Interesting and amusing, and yeah, it's not about the details. Unless it is, right? Unless it matters some way to your heart. And nobody else can say the right or wrong of that. It's either there or it isn't, and some stuff that appears in my heart that I follow through on. I roll my eyes at myself and go, oh, Canela. And off I go and step, and it's okay. It's all right to be alone in the stepping, if that's sometimes what it is. Venturing out. Because really you've been leading yourself. Supports a clarification of that. Right. To see the invitation. So that's like the bait, right? Am I going to get riled up with this? And then how to meet that. Actually engaging, being naturally yourself and seeing. Because here, it was a responding. And Isaac and I had a long conversation once about choice. Choice. What can you do but make a choice, an apparent choice? Even though when you look back, you can see that you would have made the direction was set, that you would have made the same choice because the moment would have been the same. But even our own actions, if there's an apparent choice to lean, I call it leaning, just to lean a little this way or that way, seems apparently like a choice, but it's also recognized that it's awareness in expression. It's a movement that's already happening. It's already expressing itself, just as it is. And just as it is includes where there might appear to be a choice point, and you choose a pear over an apple because you feel like a pear. This is, listening to that for the direction just creates an ease of the expression finding its way, because it's not ours. There isn't really an ownership. There is for the words to talk about this body and to give this body clothes or whatever. And that's where there is no real me, and there's also this system that is me. And but it's not to have that ownership attached. And then the layers, as we allow more and more love, the layers fall, and they fall, and we get sometimes as they fall, and sometimes we notice, that layer fell here anymore. Yeah. And so sometimes it's not really a knowing, but it's a being, of course. And life gets easier, letting go of control, but yet leaning back and letting life, just like you're in Disney World, Walt Disney, brings you through this whole fantasy of whatever, and can be that easy in going with it. And so that's where my heart goes to, where people don't know that yet, that they're being supported already, that is already with them, that love is already with them. And so my heart goes to where it shows up, to support them,
right,
to live life a little more easily. And so it's quite simple for me. It's actual comfort of the human being living. It's just how the flavor shows up here. I mean, to me, it feels like Satsang really isn't about Canela at all. You listen to people come up here and what they're sharing, it's pretty amazing, beautiful reflection of a human being that we get to receive. It points to this mutuality. We are in this together and in this space, Yeah, and all the different flavors, just reflecting that and being willing to share that, right? That's where the sharing, to me, is so delicious, because it brings your particular flavor alive and shared and added to a whole other level of what is. Your choice. Yeah. I mean, it just keeps touching me, that these recordings are here, and all that's been shared, is going to be continually shared. It's beautiful.
in another apparent time and place.
Yeah, with the person wherever they are in their current details, and it could be 10 years from now, right? And it's lovely. I like how you point to, maybe this doesn't make a very good show, but it does. In what likely is happening is people who are tuning in here in the room and also on the internet, they do feel something happening, energy moving perhaps. And, this flavor, as you and I connect, becomes a mix of awareness in this flavor. And whatever is just felt, that is true also, that while we're walking around and we're talking and there's all this apparent happening, these things happening, simultaneously we are energy, and we are feeling energy in all sorts of levels, and it's just true, and we can look to our own direct experience to know that that's true. It just is. And it can take some practice, not practice as a rule, but this being with what is, feeling energy as it rises, if it shows up, or if you just happen to notice suddenly, oh right, this ache or pain has been here for quite a while, to sit with it, direct moments being with it, and just seeing what happens. It won't hurt anything, that's for sure. But it's to remember that direction. We're taught a different direction, and so it'll be a little bit, it's like a bike, that has been running, and its rider's gotten off, but the bike still runs because it has some momentum to it. And it's just allowing that momentum to soften. The energy of trying often can do that, like allowing, right? Allowing and not touching it, right? Not touching. So it's just, and I don't know, because you might just be using that word because it's a handy word that we use, but as soon as there's trying, there's some sort of force on it. And if there's some sort of force, there'll be the physical. The physics is it'll push back. It will equal the force. So trying is often a demand of some kind. It has a push on it. The beauty of this is too that you can be with this video later. The energy that's happening here. It's on tape. And it'll arrive newly or affect and be with you newly whenever. But the energy is here. It's just the energy that's happening as we connect. As this, it's here now. It's actually on this video. And what amazing technology, being able to include this. And you can see that when you, or at least certainly I feel it when I see a video of Isaac or Papa G, Sai Baba, Pamela Wilson. And it is just what it is, right? It's like I was saying earlier, something may appear and it may appear a million times, and we don't know what awareness is doing with this. And so it's not that it's supposed to look any particular way. My left kneecap supplicates, or used to supplicate up until now. I'm not inviting it to happen again. And so there was some surgery, and there's now a creakiness, and and I can look at it and say, oh, come on, I mean, why can't I heal that so that it's what? How is it supposed to be? It is just as it is, and I can use healing energy on it and include it, and when it is ready to heal, it will, and if it's not, it won't. It may or may not. We don't know. We don't know what it's about, right? We don't know certainly what it's about for someone else, and whether or not that person is opening to it or not. I mean, Ramana, it might be a time for him to leave the mortal body, and he just let whatever it was come and take him, and it looked like cancer. Richard was mentioning somebody who living in the awakened state had Alzheimer's, and how that manifested for him. And there's a curiosity around that. Wow, how did that happen? And there it was. So it's just potentially just part of being human. This stuff does happen, and I don't feel that even though there was cancer, that Ramana's love was any less because of that. Doesn't feel to be anyway. He wasn't less awareness because of cancer happening. It's how are we with it. It's not to stop anything. And yes, there is healing that can happen for sure. These energies that are locked up. And sometimes, we don't know it unless we're that person that we could maybe, and even then we might not know. But it's just as it is. It's just that we can't use that to judge another, is what I'm saying. Right? Because because we're not him, we can't know what's happening for him, or whether or not he just opened to it as a way to leave the mortal body. That was how he was taken, how the body was finished. And, we can look at various aspects of his life that, if that's all that happened after all he went through and sitting, I mean, that he lived as long as he did is pretty amazing, because, people didn't come and take care of him, feed him, and, he might have gone then, and that might have been right, but that wasn't what happened. So, just when we look over there at another, There's no way of knowing and why things show up the way they do and how they are, whether they're dancing with them intimately, consciously. I mean, there's been myopia here in my eyes that I've been playing with for years, knowing that that's a contraction, in my eyeball, and it happened started happening when I was 7, and logically, vision ought to be very clear. What that's about, I don't know, but now I wear contact lenses at night that reshape my eyes, and that's what it's come to, and I still contemplate getting laser eye surgery and mild play that's there because I put these contacts in at night. It rises, right? It becomes present every day. And if the heart says yes to the laser eye surgery, then maybe I'll try that. But so far it's not been clear. So I carry on with what is, But it's like that. But somebody else might say, oh, she's myopic, what kind of a healer is that? Or not even saying that I'm a healer. I support people. Yeah, I've heard that quite often. People imagine that if a person is fully, that nothing that looks bad will happen to them, right? And yet, when I've spoken with people about love who have cancer, and ask them about that, and ask them, how is this love for you? They always can find it. In the moment they can look at, first it's, once they wade through all the hard bits, they can see how even in that love, it promoted love somehow. Even mortal death, right? When Richard talks about Jesus being on the cross, I mean, look how much that supported. How intense a message. Supporting, perhaps. And for those times, it shifted consciousness quite a bit. Still does. The potential is there. As people don't get caught up in the wrapping paper of the religion. Unless they feel it's supportive. Yeah, it's not the details themselves. It's how are we with that? How can we meet whatever it is that's happening? Be with it as closely as we can. Which might include running away for a while, attempting to, until we see that, oh, okay, that didn't work. It's wonderful learning in that. It occurred here, this, being real together, just being real. It reminds me of somebody once said that I'm like the Velveteen Rabbit. I don't know how many people know that story, but it's about a stuffed rabbit that allows so much love that it gets tattered and torn and bumped around, but somehow becomes real, a real rabbit in all of that, in that allowing, going through, being snuggled so close and being forgotten under the bed, full of dust, thrown into the washing machine. And so all of us, it's not to stop the tumbling of the washing machine. It's to allow it to shape us and support us. How do you say, it's such a pleasure in Italian? Because we see even in this conversation how India came in and the future came in, I'm going away, all this, and we can look at that, but it's like coming to, okay, how do I feel in response to that? Less how do I think in response to that, but what do I actually feel, and what, in your own words, however you can, because you are equal, right? Even though it seems like sometimes it might be difficult to share yourself, just in your way, even if it's awkward or, yeah, it's the response. Love is here. It seems very tangibly here with you both, and it to allow it to be received and given in a way of sharing just the truth. Like that, it's resentment. Is the resentment still here right now? I'm sure everybody can relate to that, yeah? And see a lot of themselves in that play of events. Being in a relating, how brave we are to attempt to share ourselves with another universe, another whole planet, different language, everything. Even if it's English, because everything's perceived uniquely. And it's finding our way to connect, regardless of all of that. And obviously, like, as I'm sure, I don't know if you could see it, I could see it, that there was a wanting to, connect. The connection wants to happen, right? Is it one or the other? It was connection wanted to happen. And so it's trusting that. Did anything come up for anybody in that? Does anybody have to leave right at 5? Because you want to come up space? Because it's 10 to 5 right now, yes. Okay, 10 after B. Okay. Whatever's next, and trusting yourself that you're going to not only be able, but enjoy, right? And it's like just feeling that yes right now. Why not? Absolutely. Like Bill. Allowing these steps.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for joining with me here on the weekend with everybody there online, whoever has, and you guys here, and the people that were here Friday and yesterday. And the book is available on Amazon. Right here, right now, Meditations. It's a lot of the stuff that that's been exampled here is in the book, in support of people to be able to do this wherever you are and be with yourself, no matter what. Just where you are without it having to look like anything. All right. And thank you, Chicago, thank you, Richard, thank you, Yole, for this wonderful weekend. So we have a couple more days. We still have a couple spots for individual Satsang sessions tomorrow. And yeah, I think that's... So thank you.